ability to carry out an effective military operation. U.S. Ambassador Virginia Palmer says passing anti-LGBTQI bill into law in Ghana may send negative signals to investors. Court documents confirm Office of Special Prosecutors seized a large sum of money in local and foreign currencies from the Abilimpe residence of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abena-Dapaah. And later on the international front, separate attacks on 2 villages in Nigeria's Central Plateau State kill at least 21 people. We have details of these and some other stories coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. The news is live on DSTV channel 279. We're also streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Do join us with your thoughts and comments. Let's begin the bulletin from the camp of the largest opposition, NDC, as the NDC caucus in Parliament in a press statement has said it has noted with dismay a press statement from the Bank of Ghana dated August 9, 2023, which purports to respond to their press conference on the Bank of Ghana's 2022 published annual report and financial statement held on August 8, 2023. In the said statement, the Bank of Ghana, according to the NDC, attempts to shamelessly justify its recklessness and mismanagement, which resulted in the huge losses of 60.8 billion Ghana cedis and a negative equity of 55.1 billion it recovered in the year 2022. My colleague Martin Esedu-Date has joined us via Zoom to throw more light on this particular statement that was released last night. Good morning, Martin. If you can hear me, what more have you been learning from the statement that has been released from the camp of the NDC?
Right, good morning. I said about clearly the NDC is insistent that their position is clear and that the Bank of Ghana has actually misinformed the Ghanaian populace by going back to the same points they made in their first report, which indicated that they had made losses of 60 billion. Now, the NDC says that, as it stands, the Bank of Ghana and the position of the NDC are totally at variance. They say the Bank of Ghana and the governors must resign. They go on to talk about, for instance, the $250 million headquarters which the Bank of Ghana intends to build or is currently building, and says that in this current times where the country's economy is struggling, that shouldn't even be part of the priorities of the Bank of Ghana and should have been aborted right from the onset to ensure that money is rechanneled into other profitable ventures for the economy. They go back to the point that, for instance, the Bank of Ghana's decision to print money in 2021 and 2022 for the government is one of the reasons why the economy is still struggling and cannot fathom why the Bank of Ghana would want to justify this decision. They make a point that throughout the responses that have been given by the Bank of Ghana from the first press statement they released, the second one, and this particular one, they don't even make mention of the head office they are building. They also don't make mention of the fact that they printed money, which is a position the NDC is reiterating, and say that these are even 2 key fundamentals for which the Bank of Ghana governor and his deputies should look upon that and resign. They have quoted figures which they believe are some of the infractions that the Bank of Ghana governor and his deputies have committed.
The individual
say that, for instance,
has to do with
yes,
the individual. All right, Martin, we know that the concluding part of the statement has also been raising some important questions there, and it says that their failed attempt to cite non-best practice as justification for the recklessness and mismanagement is most irresponsible, to say the least, and yet another reason why they should pack out of the Bank of Ghana immediately, which
Yes.
actually indicates that they're actually not really happy about the posturing from the Bank of Ghana. How does this stand
Certainly.
to affect the bank?
Well, the position the NDC is pushing here is that the Bank of Ghana, in their two former press releases, indicated that it is not only the Bank of Ghana that has made losses, and they made reference to like the Swiss bank and about 3 other countries, including even the UK, saying that the UK Central Bank and then Switzerland also have also recorded losses. So they cannot say that it is only Ghana. But the NDC is saying that you cannot compare yourself to these other economies because they have stronger foundations, which is buttressing the economy. For which reason, if even they are recording losses, they have significant reasons in place that can help them show up some good finances to run their central bank. For Bank of Ghana, they are saying that the books do not look good, and they are staying by their stand that the governor and his 2 deputies should leave.
All right, that's my colleague Martin Asiedu that giving us breakdown on the statement that was released yesterday from the NDC regarding issues of the Bank of Ghana. Away from that, the ECOWAS has insisted it will use force if required to restore democratic rule in Niger after a meeting of ECOWAS heads of state in Abuja. Now, ECOWAS Commission President Omar Alieu Toure laid out the decision made by the heads of state by the president. Let's take a listen at that.
The Committee of the Chief of Defense Staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements immediately. Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. Underscore its continued commitment to the restoration of constitutional order through peaceful means.
Still on the back of this, ECOWAS has insisted it will use force if required to restore democratic rule in Niger after a meeting of ECOWAS heads of state in Abuja, I beg your pardon. But experts have been reacting to this, where they have been saying that the regional group lacks the capability to carry out an effective military operation. Security expert Mutaru Mumuni Mukhtar and Colonel Festus Abuaji has also been speaking on the back of this.
That we have heard from ECOWAS today appears unhelpful. It appears they have escalated, the challenges relating to dealing with the Nigerian situation by emphasizing the use of military approach to dealing with the situation. They have gone beyond just generally saying they would resort to military approach to actually asking for the immediate, activation of the ECOWAS standby force, which in my opinion does not help in terms of negotiations and dealing with the military leadership in Niger. And so we need to look at it, walk away from this path of threat and the use of military intervention as a threat to get the military leaders to succumb to the directives of ECOWAS. Otherwise, this is not going to be helpful in terms of the negotiations that they are seeking to have with the military leadership in place.
There's a military doctrine, it's very general, that any army that is launching an offensive operation against somebody who is defending must have a force ratio of 3-to-1. Now I checked some time back, the Niger army is about 5,000, excluding a small air force. They have the gendarme, you have the police, I think they have some militia. So the army alone is 5,000. Let's say that the Nigerian armed forces, together with the police, all together are 7,500. So ECOWAS must be thinking of upward of 22,000. We don't have that. We only on paper have 6,500. So we need to wait and hear from the member states how many of which type of forces that member states are going to contribute. We need about 3 categories of forces, actually more. We need the combat troops, those who do the fighting. normally drawn from the army with the rifles centered on the infantry. We need combat support, the artillery, the armored, the engineers, the signals, communications, and so on. Then we need the combat support, those who run the vehicles and fuel them and maintain them, the food that we're going to eat, the medical health support facilities. We need to move with the hospital beyond what we have, small elements of a hospital in a battalion. It takes time. And these resources, because we are going to launch an expedition, do not exist in our member states. We need probably quickly to find them, like mobile hospitals and so on, and make them part. We may have weapons on our inventory or inventories, but we may not have the ammunition. Because in reality, no army has all the ammunition that they need to go to war. They maintain it at a certain level. Now we need to ramp it up. And because we don't manufacture these types of ammunitions in Africa or in West Africa, we need to place orders. And the orders might take a bit of time, before they arrive. So also then the mobilization of this force, in the words of activation, it's not a 1 day or 9 day wonder. It's going to take time.
Right.
And I don't think that we're talking of maybe